Hi, everyone, and welcome to Entertainment Weekly's The Awardist series. I am Senior TV Editor Gerrad Hall, and joining me today are 4 of this year's Emmy nominees, but they all have something very specific in common. They each have more than one nominations because they're all just so daggone good at what they're at. So please welcome. He is nominated for Supporting Actor in a Comedy, twice for writing, and as an executive producer of Ted Lasso, Brendan Hunt. Hello. She is nominated for writing on both a Black Lady sketch show and the Amber Ruffin show. And she's a writer on season 2 of Ted Lasso. Did I say that? On season 2 of Ted Lasso, Ashley Nicole Black. Hello. He is nominated for writing, for directing, and as executive producer of Pose, the show's co-creator, Stephen Canals. Hello to you. And last but certainly not least, she is nominated for Guest Actress in a Comedy as guest host of Saturday Night Live and for her voiceover work on Netflix's Big Mouth. Please welcome Maya Rudolph. Hello to all of you. Thanks so much for joining us. Great to have you. So Maya, I want to start with you because you were here on this roundtable with us last year. And while we were recording, we found out that Joe Biden had chosen Kamala Harris be on his ticket for vice president. So what can we manifest this year? Will you be like running for New York governor?
We're going to get rid of global warming this year. That's on the table.
Okay.
What else do you need? What else?
I hear New York needs a new governor.
Sure, no problem. We got you.
Okay,
we got you.
Got it. We're
gonna cover Gavin Newsom here too. We're good.
Yeah, you're gonna run both states. I love it. All right. Well, but on a little more serious and specific topic to what we're talking about here. Last year, you won both of the categories in which you were nominated. So, first question: where are those 2 trophies? And second, what did those wins mean to you?
It was exciting to win because I'd never won anything before. So I didn't, I'd never experienced that before. It's fun. It's really fun. There were no award ceremonies, so I didn't go anywhere. So I received the good news in the comfort of my own home, which was pretty nice. And I think it came at a time when I think we all needed a little bit of good news. And that was kind of like, oh, this is fun. Like, it was nice to be genuinely excited about something, and alleviated the strange feeling in the air for a moment. And I think what ends up happening, at least in my experience, was you realize like, oh, it's not, there are people in the world that see what you do and appreciate you. And that felt really nice. And I guess I wasn't really experiencing that as much as sometimes we do these things in a vacuum. That's probably why I like performing live the most, because I like being able to be in the same room as the audience. And I like to try to make the audience laugh. And I like to hear that they're experiencing, and you feel the energy in the room. I think sometimes when we make these shows and make these movies and do all kinds of things where you're kind of doing it into a silent void, you don't have that gauge. And so this was kind of a way of feeling like, wow, people are really out there paying attention. And it felt really nice. And my Emmys are on my piano.
Oh, great spot.
I don't know where to put them.
I mean, if I had a piano in here, that's where I would certainly keep the Emmys that I don't
they're
have.
there. There today. I feel like you could,
move them around every day.
I don't have that. Some people have like a layer where they put their like awards. I don't have an award.
If you win 2 more this year, you might have to start.
I'm going to get another piano.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. By the way, it's worth noting that in winning last year, you also beat yourself because you were nominated twice in the best in the guest actress category for The Good Place. So does that mean, like, did you buy yourself a congratulations and a consolation gift?
No, I did not. Okay. That was weird. And really, it was like it was a lovely, it was like multiple kisses. It was like a indulgent, exciting, weird thing. And yeah, it was kind of cool. and
Brendan's in that boat
fun
this
to
year.
talk about, but it was invisible. So.
Right, totally. Brendan's in that boat this year, nominated against himself for writing. Do you have any advice on how to handle the competing Brendans?
People love to ask the question, like, which one are you rooting for? So you should probably like make a fake account for one, or make one, or maybe just have like an alter ego, Brendan, like maybe he's a blonde.
These are all really good calls. That's gonna be 2 outfits, I suppose, as well.
Obviously, yeah.
Oof, I guess it's cheaper than 2 pianos in the long run. So
yeah.
I mean, either way, it will still create enormous emotional churning conflict within me, no matter what happens, and that's what it's all about.
The internal churn.
Oh yeah.
I
the
mean,
infinite, unstoppable emotional churn that will never be happy, no matter what happens. That's what we're talking about today, right?
That's correct.
Right.
Got it.
Yes, how to make ourselves happy. Certainly
A
a
therapist
lifelong
box
question.
just slides into screen.
Everybody, please welcome our 5th guest. Yeah, Ashley, you are a previous winner as well for writing for a variety special this year. You are also, like Maya, in the same category, writing for a variety sketch series for a Black Lady Sketch Show and the Amber Ruffin Show. They're both the category anyway is considered sketch, but in what ways do they differ or like exercise different parts of your comedy writing brain?
First of all, my heart skipped a beat to hear someone describe me as like Maya, so I just have to deal with that for a moment because she's the hero. It's really cool because on Black Lady Sketch Show, that show exists inside a fantastical reality where Black women can do and be anything, and it's the most fun to play in that world. And the Amber Ruffin Show literally is responding to the news of the day every week, so they're 2 completely different shows. And for me, I really like being able to switch back and forth because we do need to talk about the things that are going on in the world today, but also we all just want to like have fun and play silly characters and wear a purple wig on TV, and that's what Black Lady Sketch Show is for.
Makes a lot of sense. Stephen, you have 3 nominations this year, as I mentioned, writing, directing, both for the series finale and of course for the show in general. I have a really deep question for you. Are you more of a Pray Tell, Blanca, or Electra?
I'm definitely a Blanca.
You know, I actually had a feeling you were going to say that. No, but my real question is actually, you know, as I understand it, Ryan Murphy basically suggested to you, you should direct this finale. It wasn't something that you were planning to do. So Emmy nomination aside, potential Emmy win aside, what really for you was the personal reward in seeing the series through with the finale?
It's been all laughs, and now you're trying to make me cry. Thank you, Barbara Walters. I think the truth is that, Pose came to me, the kernel of an idea came to me in 2004 as an undergrad student. I didn't write the first draft until 2014. I spent 2.5 years pitching it before finally meeting Ryan Murphy, who said, let's make it. So to be the person to metaphorically land the series plane, I didn't even know that it was something I needed, to be honest. Ryan was the one who was like, it makes sense to me and it feels right. You should be the person to direct this series finale. And he had to convince me. I really was like, I don't think I'm the right person for it. I don't think I have the ability or the skill to do it. I didn't want to mess it up.
Even though you had directed before, right? It wasn't your first time directing.
It was my 4th episode, so I'd only done 3 episodes before. And then, I studied film as an undergrad, but it still doesn't mean that I have the ability to direct a 1.5-hour series finale. But Ryan was like, no, I really believe in you. And I think that this is the right thing. You're supposed to end this narrative. And so I'm glad that I decided to say yes.
Yeah, well, and look, here we are. Kind of a full circle thing going on with all of you here, by the way. Of course, Michaela J. Rodriguez was your leading lady, who is now going to be Maya's co-star on an Apple TV Plus comedy Just like, I don't know, just a weird circle I just kind of figured out here in listening to all this. Maya, by the way, that show, quick aside, let's talk about that. This character, her husband leaves her and she has like $87 million to her name or something like that.
$1 billion, yeah.
Billion with a B. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. little sounds a little familiar. What's the dynamic with you and Michaela J?
We're gonna end up working together, and I'm trying to think, like, yeah, well, sort of like I think MJ's gonna become part of my character's new life, sort of like trying to figure out who she is post lifelong marriage to a very powerful man and living sort of his life, and then rebuilding a life and sort of rebuilding a family, more or less. And then sort of what you do with all that money, like, do you use it for good? Do you spend it all? What do you do?
I can give you a list.
Do you just follow Beyonce like everywhere she goes and just like, I don't know.
That's an easy yes.
Just buy a bunch of stuff.
Right. I like the concept. Maybe we'll see you back here again next year for lead actress in a comedy series. Time will tell, certainly. I have a question for the group. Because all of you have so many different talents and skill sets on the many things that you do, when did all of you know when you were good at what you do? Brendan, I'll start with you.
Not until you said it just now. And thank you for that. I really need to get more support in my life, generally speaking. I don't know. I think, when you first encounter teachers who sort of lock in on you, that can be a very powerful thing. I was actually just thinking the other day about, like, my very first improv class was after freshman year of high school in Chicago, and I was in a theater workshop for the summer, like a summer thing, and there was just 2 days of improv. Now, I would go on to do a hell of a lot of improv in my life, but I didn't know that then. And this one teacher, this Jim Ortlieb, who's now an actor in LA, he's around all the time. I once got to see him at a commercial audition and go up to him and thank him for these 2 days, and he of course had no memory of it, nor did I expect him to, but like, kind of close the circle there. But and it's not even so much a specific memory of anything he said, just the way that I felt by the end of that workshop, and him, taking the time to give just the right amount of encouragement and focus that made me kind of, throw my shoulders back for damn near the first time ever. And feel decent about myself.
Ashley?
This is going to sound bad, but I always thought I was good at this, but nobody else agreed for a really long time. So I was just like, not booking stuff, not getting gigs, but just in my heart being like, I feel like I'm good at this. And when I wrote the packet for Samantha Bee, when you get to round 2, the email that they sent back said, you're getting this email because you made Samantha laugh. And that was like, after 10 years of doing comedy, somebody, this comedy queen telling me, I think you're funny. And I'm like, yes, I knew it.
Steven?
I'm a Virgo and I'm really hard on myself. So it really just depends on the day. When I was directing the finale, there were days where I'm like, that's going to be the perfect shot that I've composed. And then I don't get it. And I'm like, see, this is why I wasn't supposed to do this. And then I get an Emmy nomination and I'm like, see, I am great. So it really just depends.
Makes sense. Yeah. Maya?
Yeah, I'm not a Virgo, but I feel the same way. But I think along the lines of, like, what Brendan was saying was similar for me. Like, when I was doing improv and finding teachers, and also just finding your people. I think once I found my people that I spoke the same language with, or I felt like I was myself in how I perform with, and getting to make them laugh, feeling some sort of symbiotic connection, that made me feel like I'm part of something, and that felt good. And it wasn't so much that success came, it was more just that it felt like this feels right. This I'm doing something because I'm making someone I admire laugh, or we're making each other laugh, or we're enjoying what we're doing, you know.
Mhm. Do any of you ever have that feeling? I've heard some people say this before. Betty White comes to mind. She's like, there's too much of me around right now. Do any of you ever feel like, there's too much of me? Or do you subscribe more to the thought that you have to strike while the iron's hot versus overexposure? Feelings on that?
Mm. I think people have seen, I always feel that way, but I don't know. I'm like, do people even know who I am? Like, I think
They
people are
know
sick
who
of me.
you are. They know who you are.
I
Hi.
think
Wow,
people are
he
sick
was
of
ready
me
for
singing.
that.
Well, yeah, you were ready. I think people are sick of me singing, but that's because I'm sick of me singing. People think I want to sing all the time, so
No,
they
please
write
keep
it.
singing.
Yeah, we
Please keep
I'm,
singing.
but I'm sick of it. It's like I'm like, I've done a lot of karaoke. Like, it's somebody else's. I don't know. I'm sick of singing unless I want to. It's like when you're at a wedding and someone says you should dance. I'm like, I'll dance when I want to dance. Like, I'm not going to dance just like, I have to like the song, you know?
Yeah.
I've got to like the song. That's my new book.
That's a great title. Yeah. How do the rest of you feel about that? Strike while the iron's hot, or is there such thing as overexposure?
When I hear the
I don't know.
question,
Yeah.
no, go ahead, Brendan. I'm sorry.
No, I could use a repeat too, because I'm not entirely sure where we're going here.
I know.
I
I
don't-
really changed the whole thing with the song thing.
I'm struggling with the question, I think, specifically because I'm behind the scenes. So I think maybe if I was in front of the camera, then I would have a different response. But, you know, I think speaking as a show creator, as a writer and director, it's like, yeah, we absolutely have to strike when the iron's hot all the time, because, you know, as I've had several mentors say to me, you know, the business can be really fickle and it changes very quickly. And so, you know, if you're in a place right now where you're hearing yes, then you just want to continue to work and do while the yeses are coming, because at a certain point you're going to start to hear no's, you know.
Makes complete sense.
That makes a lot of sense to me, you know, especially for behind the camera stuff. And I'm you know, trying to take that to heart now. But, you know, for in front of the camera stuff, it's like, geez, like lucky to have gigs, you know, like, I mean, get them when you can. If I get to a point where I suddenly have collected so many gigs and I'm worried about the amount of gigs I've had, I will circle back. But I don't think I'm there yet.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows who I am. So I think I'm a really far away from overexposed. But I think similar to Brendan, like, we get to go into the writer's room in our sweatpants and, like, you know, just tell jokes with our friends. And then you go on set and people are dressing you and fixing your makeup and all that stuff. And you get to do that. And like me, not a Virgo, a Gemini, I like being able to go back and forth from in front of and behind the camera. And that in front of the camera thing is like really fun while you're doing it. But seriously, nothing beats sitting in your sweatpants talking about jokes in a usually pretty stinky room with a bunch of other writers.
I will have
snacks.
to do that sometime.
Yes, that's why it's stinky, because of all the snacks.
And I think also, like, there is a precondition to think that, like, preconditioned thought that you have to strike when the iron is hot, that like now's the time where if this is what you do, then it's working now. And that can always be a scary thing, because, you know, really, I think if anything, I think the only thing that's taught me that like you're always going to be you is just like the amount of time that I've been doing it. And it's like, I'm still the same person. I've just been doing it for a lot longer, you know, but I haven't changed. Their reaction to me has changed significantly, but I'm the same. And that's been a very interesting lesson. And it's also been a very rewarding lesson, because you really can remember who you are and notice how people respond to you based on nothing but longevity, exposure, winning an Emmy, things like that, and still remain to be the same person. or do the same thing, and I think it's very interesting, because it has a lot to do with time. Like, I can't believe how long I've been lucky enough to have the same job, and it's been a really long time. And I forget that sometimes, but it's like, oh yeah, that does some, at a certain point, if you can, remain working or start to do the things you like to do and really show yourself and show who you are, people respond in that way. And it's sort of like, it's not a new thing. It's just, it's interesting to watch people's reaction to you. I find, for myself, that's been my experience.
I think
And Stephen, oh,
that's
sorry, go ahead, Ashley.
also, I just want to say that's also something that's very unique to you, Maya, because I think like I loved you so much on The Good Place, but you bring the same level of like comedy to The Good Place as you do to SNL, as you do to like your voice work. And a lot of people would maybe try to conform to, oh, I'm on a half hour, let me, play it like this. But you just bring, I'm going to be the funniest person every time I step in front of the camera. And I think that also adds to that longevity. When you're like, oh, Maya's going to guest star on something, you're tuning in. It doesn't matter what the show is. And people know that. So they're going to keep bringing you. You know what I mean?
Thank you very much.
I'm
I
a
appreciate
fan.
that.
Sure. Stephen, you said something that kind of takes me to a question I wanted to ask a little later, but it was a perfect segue, about saying yes to things as they're kind of coming to you, striking when the iron's hot. That said, do each of you subscribe more to that kind of, Shonda Rhimes had that book, Year of Yes, where she said yes to everything for a year, or are you more of a person who kind of likes to like wish things into existence, kind of like The Secret, the law of attraction?
I think it's both. I law of attracted myself into the career that I have. I should post it on my Instagram page. I actually created like a vision board, and I had it while I was working on my MFA in screenwriting at UCLA. I had it on the back of my bedroom door. And so I was forced to be confronted with it every morning. But everything that I had on that board has come to pass, including these Emmy nominations, which is so incredible. But I read The Year of Yes when Shonda released it, and that really impacted and influenced me, because I think that I'm on the low end of extrovert, which means that in reality, it's like I can be extroverted when I'm around people, but I actually prefer to be home and alone in my, pajamas, watching television and eating popcorn. And so reading that book, it really forced me to reconsider what are the things I'm saying yes to. And initially it started really small, a friend inviting me out for a drink, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. And then it started to expand, and I found myself saying yes to new ideas, for example, for stories, or saying yes to Ryan Murphy to direct our series finale. So
How about the rest of you?
I mean, I would hate to imply that my answer is in any way some kind of plan anyone should follow or duplicate, but I certainly have probably done a lot more saying yes to things than, some would say more than I should have, like it, looking like late 90s there while I'm still in Chicago, and, thinking, oh boy, what I should do is I should do Second City. I should try to do Second City. I've been seeing them since I was in high school. I should go to Second City. Oh, what? A job in Amsterdam? Okay, yeah, I'll go to Amsterdam. All right. I'll stay for 1 year. Oh, stay for another year? Okay, now I'm here for 5 years? Okay, great. Now I should move to Chicago, do that Second City thing. Oh no, move to LA, you think? All right, okay, move to LA. Oh, I should focus on my writing every single minute of every single day. What? There's something called Burning Man? Okay, yeah, no, let's go to Burning Man. That sounds fun. And maybe if I'd said yes a little bit less often, I might have, had better gigs sooner. But currently, I don't regret a single yes that I've ever said. But I can't even begin to suggest that would work for everybody. But it maybe has worked for me a little.
It feels like the
Ashley?
nature too of, at least for comedy. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
cut
go
you
ahead.
off. I was going to say that feels like coming out of the groundlings here in LA was similar for me. if someone's doing a project and you're used to being, I think, I like working as a group, and I like working as like a team sport. So your friends are doing something funny and fun, and then they invite you to do that. So you do that, and then that becomes that project, and that becomes that project. And I'd rather work with people that I already know, or that make me laugh, or there's a comfort level, and then you find yourself going like, oh, I wasn't home ever, and that didn't feel good. But those things do lead to the next thing, and you sort of look back thinking like, I liked those experiences. Like the experiences that mattered the most were the ones that were like the most connected, the most fun, or the, with the people that you create with or write with, or but I found too where I said yes quite a bit to things, because it's just like, well, how can you resist laughing for a week in Atlanta with somebody that you've known for 20 years, so you end up doing that. But then I found for myself that I was doing a lot of little things and getting really tired. And the only thing that was really helpful for me was having children, because you get to say no and mean it, like, I cannot do that. No. But I think that if I hadn't done that sooner, I probably would have said yes a lot more, and to my detriment. Just because I think it's just easy to like, and I think like, if anything, like sketch comedy is definitely more of a place. Improv and sketch is like a place where like you're part of a greater, you're a part of a group, so you're part of like a whole. So you need each other. You all jump in for each other a lot more, and yeah. I
like
said
the
yes
image
a
of
lot.
Maya using her children as a shield
Yeah.
to physically resist short-term gigs.
No.
The key
Yeah.
to being able to say no, have kids. Noted.
Yep.
All right. Ashley, how about you?
I think I was the opposite of Shonda Rhimes, is that I was saying yes too much. I needed to learn how to say no. And what I've done in the past couple of years is just choose a guiding principle. And for me, like, this is so nerdy, but I want to do work that promotes empathy. And so everything that comes, it's very easy to say, yes, this does this, or no, this doesn't do that. And then I don't have to feel bad about saying no. It's just like, oh, this just doesn't fit into what I'm trying to do right now. And it's not about you or, the goodness or badness of the project. I just have a goal in mind, and I'm going to say yes to things that fit that goal, and no to things that don't. And that even includes self-empathy. So if this job is going to involve me working till 2 a.m. every day, then no. So that's what I'm on now.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't have kids, so I have to come up with something else.
True. Yeah.
Much healthier.
Yeah. Would you say that is part of what led you to Ted Lasso season 2, Ashley?
100%, because my reps were like, there's this show about soccer, and I was like, okay, I don't know why we're talking, because I've obviously haven't played soccer since AYSO. But then I read the script, and there was so much, like, I remember the joke that stuck out to me is when Rebecca says, do you believe in ghosts? And Ted says, yes, but most importantly, I think they should believe in themselves. And that one joke, I was like, it's so funny. It's such a hard joke, but there's so much heart and empathy behind it. And that's the two things that I want out of a comedy, is really hard jokes and a lot of heart. So that was what attracted me to Ted Lasso. And then I found out Brendan was on it. And this is me and Brendan's second show together, and we finally got to meet. So that was also a big part of it.
Nice. Well, so Brendan, what would you say makes her a great writer for Ted Lasso? And Ashley, what do you love writing about these characters, or writing for these characters?
Well, there's something to be said to fitting right in, even though you're the 11th person in what has been a 10-person group. Like, it was really seamless having Ashley around, and not just in the sense of being a good hang and, always contributing ideas and jokes, but also contributing some very important bumps, like, no, here's why that bothers me. Like, just having the openness, and I mean, courage is a bit of a fancy term for such a thing, but like, it's in that vein. So to be able to be, just wholly herself right away, was fantastic. And I just sat there the whole time going, when am I going to meet this person? And finally, a year and a half later, it happened.
Nice.
One of my top 10 hugs for sure. Um, I think what I love about writing for these characters, and it really is the world that Jason has set up, is that like everything people do has consequences. Because a lot of times in comedy, like something really funny will happen and you get the laugh, and then the story just moves on because we did all that to get the laugh. But like in real life, if you did one of these things, your friends might be upset or be like, why did you do that? And even in the editing of the show, you see will linger on someone's face reacting like, why did he say that? And to me, that stuff is like so funny and so real. And it makes the show so much more fun to write for, because it's like I can take it there and do something that's maybe even a little bit more heightened, because I know we're going to respond to it as if it really happened and make it feel real and make this feel like a real world. So it's a really fun, it's like the best sandbox to get invited into.
Stephen, as you are undoubtedly looking toward your next project beyond Pose, what is there like a specific thing that you can take from that experience, either as specifically a writer, a director, or producing the show, that you learned from that show that you will undoubtedly apply to your next experience?
Well, that's a big question. I mean, all of it. I mean, I've learned so much about, the first thing that popped in my mind is just trusting my instinct and trusting my own voice. You know, it's as Maya noted, you know, working in film and in television it's a team sport, you know, it's a team effort. And I think that, I don't know if it's my therapist will have a field day with this. I don't know if it's like having grown up in the Bronx or you know, just my upbringing, that I'm so used to sort of being self-reliant and doing everything on my own. And very quickly I discovered in production during our first season, like, oh, you don't have to do everything. You know, there are people here on set who are experts in their particular field, and you can ask them to do whatever it is that needs to be done. And so I know that moving forward, for sure, I will allow myself to just really enjoy the ride. You know, I feel like it took me 3 seasons. It really took me this last season to get to a place where I could allow myself to just exhale during production, which is odd because we were filming in the midst of a global pandemic. But I had so much fun this season, in spite of the shield and the face mask and the distancing. And, you know, it was a hard season, but there was just so much love and fun and support and laughter, which I know for some people might seem odd because this is a show that's centering, you know, a lot of really traumatic events that are happening in these characters' lives. But I just had a great time. And so I think, you know, that for me is what I definitely take away, is just enjoying the process, enjoying the ride, and trusting that like inner compass within me that's saying that's the right decision, you know, not second guessing myself.
Yeah, it's very easy to do. By the way, I want to know what else is on that vision board. Like what else can we manifest for lives? I mean, you know, there are times people have told me they're really great, you should do it. And I'm like, like, I don't know if I see the point. And then I hear stories like yours, and I'm like, okay, maybe there is some actual worth to this. Like, you can have all the thoughts in your head, but maybe it's the applying it to paper, like taking the time to put the work in on the board. Do you think that has something to do with it?
I truly believe that you have to name what you want before you can claim it. And I spent so much of my experience, my youth in particular, being too afraid to say out loud the thing that I wanted. You know, I don't think it's by chance that I didn't move to LA until I was already well into my 30s, you know, that all of this, you know, this career that I now have and these Emmy nominations are happening now in my early 40s. You know, it took me time. I had to grow and develop and evolve and step into myself. So I think that what the vision board did is that it forced me to say out loud, not only to myself, but to the people around me, this is what I want most. You know, and my board, I split it in half. So, you know, because I'm a Virgo and I'm very anal retentive. So half of my board was career and the other half was love, you know, and those were the 2 things that I told myself when I moved to LA in 2012. that's what I'm working toward. You know, like I want to find lasting love and I want a career in this industry. And so I'm really fortunate to have all of that now.
One is certainly just as important as the other. We are about to wrap up here. Maya, I have a last question for you. Connie, the hormone monstrous, Beyonce on Hot Wings, Kamala Harris. Is there one thing that you can find that all of them have in common?
Right. Because I think about this all the time. So
No,
be ready for this answer.
We're ready for it. No.
They're all fantastical. They're all, in my opinion, and in the most positive sense of it, powerful women. They're all powerful women. Yeah. I mean, Connie is technically a monster, but she's a female monster.
Right. No,
she's
very
very
true. Very
powerful.
True. Yeah. I'm just
they all
imagining
have great hair.
That's a good point.
Sorry,
too.
what were you going to say?
Yeah.
That's
no, I was going to say,
really
I wonder, like, imagine, do you have like recordings handy of the voices to make sure that you're not doing one character that sounds a lot like the other, since voice is obviously so much of character development for you?
No.
Because I think it's staggering that none of your characters sound alike.
Connie is pretty unique.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, for her, I feel like we finally figured it out. But I do Nick's mom on Big Mouth as well. And I always have to listen to what my voice is because I don't remember, which is ironic because when we started the show, there was no Connie and I was just tired of playing Nick's mom. We didn't have a Connie. And but Connie's she's very powerful. She's sort of taken over. So Connie I can dip into a little too easily. Yeah.
Oh, well, sometimes we all need to be reminded of our own work. Got to tap back into that to remember what we've done before. Listen, all four of you, this has been a wonderful conversation. You are really, you're all here because we think all of you are doing such fantastic work, and it obviously shows with all of the Emmy nominations. So congratulations on those, and best of luck to all of you come the week of September 13th. I know there will be some awards handed out in advance of the 19th. So best of luck to all of you. I want to thank again all of my guests, Maya Rudolph, Ashley Nicole Black, Brendan Hunt, and Stephen Canals. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
Good luck, everyone.